struggling with meltdowns with your child, we're here to say that meltdowns are not normal. Not every child has meltdowns. So if you're experiencing constant meltdowns, power struggles, arguments, wondering why the kids are screaming so much as you're being taught to just relax and be calm, I want you to know that the screaming, the meltdowns, the temper tantrums are a message from your child. Your child is asking to be empowered with a vision and proactive attention. And we're going to show you how to do that. It's completely opposite from anything that you've ever seen in parenting before. So if you're a parent who would love to empower your child, who wants the best for your child, who wants to raise a child who is not only cooperative, but one who can take initiative, one who can develop their critical thinking, independent confidence, children who are kind, children who work with you as a team. Like if it's your number one priority in life to do what's best for your children, you're in the right place at the right time. And I want to encourage you to stop watching Instagram parenting videos right now, because they're leading you off the cliff into parenting hell. So we're Bonnie and Thomas Leota. We're founders of Creating Champions for Life. And while the rest of the world is teaching you it's normal for your kids to have meltdowns, that you have to be their emotional control, that you need to be consistent with maintaining boundaries while your child is freaking out, we're going to show you how to raise champions.
So I'd like to just maybe start off and just share a quick story. Many of you may or may not know, but I had probably one of the best jobs in the world working for Nintendo, playing video games as a gameplay counselor. I spent my whole life playing video games at a very young age, and then everybody found out, gosh, you ought to do this for professional. And so I lived in Seattle, Washington, where Nintendo of America was located there. And for 10 years, I had a chance and privilege and honor to actually, at the time, didn't know how many it was, but it was 144,000 plus kids around the world to coach and be a counselor, or better known as a trusted advisor. How do you fix, or how do you beat this game? How do you go from can to can? And during that journey, I got into martial arts. That'll be a different story how that started. But after about 5 years of training, I got my first black belt back in 1994. And I trained, and I had a chance then to actually start to teach white belts. You start being able to be a leader for them. And then 3 years later, I had a chance where Master Charlie brought in 3 of his black belts, Ryan, Jerry, and of course me, Thomas. And he sat down and he goes, I'm leaving. I need somebody to take over the school or take over class. We're like, yeah, we'll cover class. And he goes, no, I have to leave. I got to go back to Korea. I need somebody to take over. And I remember asking just one question, like, well, does the dojo at least cover the rent? And I said, I'll do it. Not even having a clue, just made a decision. And that's when I got introduced to being able to find out what running a school really meant. And so I had a very good income already, so I could actually not run the school by what a lot of, I found it, running a school is very, very tough. You know, you have these ideas that people have to spend money to go through these belt tests and stuff, and just to keep the doors open. But I had the privilege and honor to get rid of all of that and actually develop kids at the speed that they could develop between each ranks. And so what I noticed during this is that when kids would first start, moms and dads, mostly moms, but most of the moms, you go to these tournaments and the kid would be standing there and the mom would come over, the kid would come over to the parent, and they would be tying their belt for them. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, white belt, yellow belt, orange belt. How does this kid get to about 3, 4, 5, 6 belts in and mom or the parent is still tying their belt? still, and you can hear. They're like, "Oh, you have to forgive little Timmy here. I didn't get a chance to wash his uniform for him, so it's a little dirty today." And when I came up, you learn self-sufficiency. You are responsible. Like you know that you're just do something as a white belt, just engage. But as you took your first developmental of missing life skills, is that you found out that self-control, we can't deny that something is controlling our body, right? Because it's evident something's making this happen. But when I got introduced to it, it'd be like, well, look, either I am in control of my body and my actions, or that person over there, they are in control of my body and my actions. And that's where the first life skill really came into play, is like, well, who's in control of this? Like, and responsibility. I'm responsible for my actions and my belongings, or they are responsible for my actions and my belongings. And
Right.
so I'm thinking to myself, how does a school skip all of these things where the parent is still, they are in control of my body and my actions and responsible for my belongings and things of this nature? Well, because they had to water down the training just to keep the doors open. And that's a really unusual or a scary fact, but I didn't have to be in that position. So when the kids started, we'd always develop on life skills. And the first one is to put them in the power, is that you know that you're in control of your body and your actions. So if you want to fall on the floor and scream, because why? Because it worked. Somebody would come by and do it for you. But the kids go, did you know that you could actually make this happen too? And we developed that skill. So we have them have their belt. So they started to learn that your belt stays up off the floor. You can control that, and then you can tie it. And we built this whole thing in that direction. And so the long and the short is that when parents were coming to me and we had what was called a good citizenship chart, they would be like, Timmy just made his bed today so he could come to class. I can't even get this kid to pick up a sock. What are you doing? Well, in one of our principles called creating the right environment, is that the kids would come to class because they wanted to earn some things. And we showed them that if they could actually treat their clothes just like they did with their uniform, they had to learn how to tie in their own belt and do their own folding and cleaning of their own uniform. We also will go, well, when you go home, how many of us can make our own bed? How many of us can actually do the life cycle of play, clean, sleep of their own dish when they have dinner, and the sock and all these things? So when they did these, they would bring them to us and they would be able to either spectate or participate. And because of that internal drive that they wanted to be there, being able to do these life skills so they could prepare to launch out of the nest, it was their idea and there was no way you could stop them. And it seemed magical for the parents at first, but then when they learned that they could do this, well, that kind of brings us what we're here today, sharing with the world, is that, yes, these kids are having meltdowns, but at the end of the day, they're really screaming, going, look, this is the only way I can get your attention. You trained me that if I do this, you'll get it for me. But I'm really wanting you to show me how you do it so I can do it all by myself.
Yes.
That's powerful.
So what you're saying is, at your martial arts after school program and your martial arts class, you focused on training the kids. You focused on teaching them life skills.
Missing
life skills. Now, I want to give you a vision, because a lot of, most parents around the world have no idea what's possible. When our clients first come to us, it's like, well, what do you want more of? Well, I just want my kids to listen. Well, I just want them to cooperate. And we're not thinking about the big picture. We're just thinking about in the moment, dealing with that meltdown in that moment. But I want you to step back for a minute, moms and dads, and I want you to think about the big picture. What are we doing here? We're raising a human being. And for whatever reason, over the last 85 to 90 years or so, after authoritative parenting was introduced, we started to cater to our children, believing that all they required was attention. And it is true. Your children do require attention, but it's not all they require. So I want to give you a vision of what's possible. Kids waking up in the morning doing what they're supposed to be doing without even being asked. Kids who go from C's and D's in school or don't seem to care about school to going to the honor roll. Your child has the potential to be, do, and have anything that you are willing and ready to prepare them for, to train them for. I want you to picture children who are confident and happy. You know, when we go to pick up Harley from daycare, she's 18 months old. The daycare workers are like, she's so happy. She's always smiling. And your child has a potential to be always smiling too. It is the environment that they're being raised in. Are they validated? Are they being trained? So the vision is your parenting dream of having the closest connected relationships with little children who follow you around, telling you how much they love you all day long. That's the reality of parenting in heaven.
Yes.
So I want to say hello to a couple of people who have joined us live. Jessica Lewis, welcome. We have two Jessicas, Jessica Lewis and Jessica Dommett. Welcome. Angela, thank you so much for being here. We are live Q&A today. So if you have parenting questions, this is what we're here for. But I want to pre-frame just before we get into the good meat and potatoes here, where we're waiting for people to join us live, is our parenting or our content isn't for everyone. It's not just for any mom and dad. It's for the moms and dads who choose to empower their kids, the moms and dads who are willing to do what it takes to do what's best for their children. And just before I'm looking for questions too, by the way. If you have one, put it in the comments. This is the time. But when I met Thomas, it was 2011, and I was at the top of my game. Now, I had been trained already for 18 years in personal development and leadership at that time. But I was failing as a parent, and I couldn't figure out why, because I was reading all the current parenting books, and I was doing whatever I could. I wanted to be what was best for my kids. My dream since 1994 was to find a way to empower all the kids of the world. And I'm having a little bit of an emotional day today, so I don't know how much I'm going to be able to get through without becoming emotional, but it is my 52nd birthday. And so I am thinking about this whole journey that we've been on, this parenting journey. And it's just, I'm so grateful to be here. And this is joyful emotion, because what we do is so important. We're talking about your lives as parents. We're talking about the children who are growing up today, being sent to treatment centers, going to massive amounts of therapy. Anytime your child cries or is unmotivated, the advice out there is get a therapist. And that's a lie. It's because you've been giving all these parenting tools that are sending you in the wrong direction. Why not learn parenting with empowerment, which is what we're here to show you, leadership parenting. So I had a dream since 1994 to find a way to empower all the kids. It took me 18 years to meet Tom. And when I found Creating Champions for Life, I was like, oh my gosh, like every parent in the world deserves to know about this. And so I walked away from chasing money. I walked away from my entrepreneurial experience. I walked away from my 7-bedroom house. I walked away from everything that I knew to do this. And we are now going into our 13th year of Creating Champions for Life, and trying to reinvent parenting is it's an experience.
It's revolutionary.
It's an experience, that's for sure. And so we show up here. We're going to continue to show up here. Whoever is open and willing to listen, we're going to give you the tools that you need.
And if I may here, Bonnie, what makes this different than every cookie cutter reactive parenting thing that's out there? Now, I'll take a Pepsi challenge taste test to anybody out there that does anything with parenting. First and foremost, you want to challenge what it is. I'll point out every single hole that's in it, because I know you're doing the best you can, but it's not on the positive side. And what I mean by this is I was introduced to a very unique culture that goes thousands of years of this teaching. I kept wondering to myself, I asked when I had my first time I went to Korea, this was back in 2000. And I'm like, every single kid, no exception, earned a black belt in their educational system from kind of like from birth before we leave the nest. And I'm like, that's very interesting. Everybody, no exception. Yeah. It's mandatory. And that started to make sense because at the end of the day, it's personal development. What it can be
Yes.
used for is good, bad, and the ugly. That's irrelevant. But there was a certain step in the culture of humanity to prepare for independence. And that made sense to me.
If it makes sense to you, share a comment, please. Does it make sense to prepare for independence?
Now, with that being said, that's where this comes from. It's not hype. It's not hopium. It's not what do you do when they do this? It's part of a fundamental prime directive, which means, look, take all parenting that you know across the board and wipe it clean and just ask yourself this. Every animal in the animal kingdom does this automatically. But our prime directive, why are they here? It's to prepare them to launch, to leave, be independent, period. I'm not sure how this got confusing because when you have that plan, look, you're here to prepare you. Done. After that, when are we launching? If it's mentionable, it's measurable. Well, right now they got us on a 18-year before you leave, give or take. A couple hundred years ago, we were leaving at age 13. So I'm not quite sure what this 18 thing is all about, but that's a different subject. 2, there's a simple list, like ingredients of life skills to go. Because when it comes down to the end of the day, when you ask yourself this, look, we were designed to go 120 years full vitality. However, a lot of us aren't making it that long. And so when we think about, okay, I need to be able to do everything all by myself, that makes sense. So how many more life skills do I need before I go? It's mentioned, but here's the key. Why do people want to prepare? Because something's going to come into your world that's going to say, you're not going to be 120 years old. And let me ask you this straight up. When something comes and wants to take you out of the picture, shorten your life for whatever reason, they see you as a means to their own end, and they will, well, you become a snack. Do you want to have the power to say, no, thank you? Because we all know we come in, we leave. That's Captain Obvious. But during that duration, somebody's going to take you out. Would you like the power to say, no, thank you? Yeah, hello. Well, that's why we train martial arts, to prepare for that moment so I can say, no, thank you. You see, your kids will go, well, they behave when I'm around. Well, great. And when you cease to exist, they're a snack. You want to prepare them so when they launch, they have the same power. Somebody's picking on me. No, thanks. They have the confidence to be able to walk away. At the end of the day, if this resonates with you, then I'm not saying give up all that other parenting stuff, but it's garbage on its best day. And yes, you heard it from me straight. Once again, I'll challenge anybody. I'm open, but I haven't had anybody answer it yet.
Absolutely. So let's get into the Q&A. So the first question is, my child seems completely unmotivated. They don't care about anything. What can I do to motivate my child?
What can I do to well, first and foremost, you have to ask you, where did I learn that I have to motivate them? Well, you can motivate them with 2 ways. You can guide them or punish them. That's motivation. Create some pain. Watch this. Right? Yeah, see? That's what happens.
Yes.
You see, if it's your goal, I'll guarantee you, this is called authoritative parenting. This is the whole gentle parenting world. Next year, they're going to rename it something else. You're bribing them, meaning that you're giving them something, and then you have some strings attached because you want them to act a certain way, and are going, excuse me, I didn't sign up for this program. But when it's their idea, I want, ooh, all you have to do is watch your little toddler run around, and it's like, what do they see? There they go. That's it comes from the inside.
That's right.
So what we do here is, instead of bribing, when every single kid came to me, I want, I'm like, oh, great. I could go do it. 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 Now, let me relate this to the moms. 3 to 5 kids. I get it. Well, I had 30 to 50 kids at any given day going, can I have, can I do, can I get, can I want, wine. And yes, I'm a pretty strong person. I could satisfy every single one of those for an 8-hour day. And then there was a point in my life when I'm like, you know what? I physically collapsed and I was bedridden for 3.5 weeks. There is no way you're going to satisfy that void, parents, ever. So there was a moment of clarity. I went, I wanted dinner. Oh, I'd love for you to have that. Do you know what that's called? We call that a goal. Validation. It was that that was that magical moment of like,
goal.
My foot hurts. Congratulations. Right? The validation, they're coming to me. When we knew is that all this whining and complaining that the parents are receiving is, they're going, well, look, you're my trusted advisor. I don't even know what to do. If I knew what to do, I wouldn't need you. So I'm coming to you to point, and we have to establish whatever that is. It's a want, need, or a desire. Think WIND acronym so you can remember it. A want, a need. I need food, clothes, shelter. I want a bike. I want this. But my desire is, what do I want to be and share with the world? So we validated, and this was from white belt to yellow belt. They knew that anything that falls in those categories is called a goal, and we put it on the board. 2, we very, very specifically said, look, you need to have yourself a trusted advisor. Now, this could be your teacher. This could be your mom or dad. This could be an aunt, uncle, or in this case, it would be your quanjingnim. This was a master level student or teacher. You go to them for the plan. Now, everybody knows this as far as cooking. It's a recipe. They're really saying, how do you do it? Don't manipulate me to have you want me to do it the way you want to do, because that violates the thumbprint. But show me, impart on me what the actual plan is. So it goes goal, plan. Now, this plan works because they see you doing it and they want to know the secret sauce. So goal, plan. Once they have the plan, we started to take action on it. They go from I do for, monkey see, monkey do. We do with, follow the leader. You can do it all by yourself, called Simon Says. And see, goal, plan, take action, perseverance. And when we taught these kids from white to yellow belt, this is the sacred formula that you must know in order to move forward in life. Everything else just falls into place, because if it is to be, it is up to me. And when we laid down that foundation, every single child not only came to life, but I've heard every single label. I've heard of every single medication that the kids were on that came to me that so-called was something wrong with the kid. And I reframed that. There's nothing something wrong with the kid. There's something wrong with you. Love me or hate me, that's the truth. And every single child came to life when they knew this formula, and everything worked like God created.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I'm going to summarize what you said there. Desire is something that comes from the inside out. It's what pushes us forward. It's what motivates a human being to do the things that they might not want to do, or to do the things that they don't feel like doing today. Like for you, it might be eating correctly. It might be working out. It might be getting out of bed early. It might be going to work today. Maybe you don't want to, but you go
because you're motivated internally to go. Nobody's following you around going, come on, get up. It's time to go to work today. You go to work today because you need money to pay your bills so you can feed your kids and you can live. So what Tom's saying is desire. Desire is the starting point of all achievement, the first step towards riches in life. And this, parents, we are losing big time. We're failing our kids big time. Now, I'm going to give a little shock therapy because Jessica, you posted in here. What did you say? Oh, I catch myself bribing all the time. It's a habit. It's a neural pathway. It's something that's worked for you in the past. It's something that 99.999999989% of all the parents in the world are doing. They are bribing. Every call that I do with a new client says I bribe. So don't beat yourself up, but become aware that what we're doing is we are being literally taught and conditioned to smother our children's desire. It's a power principle. It's chapter 2 in Think and Grow Rich. It's 25 pages long. So I want you to imagine your kid, your little newborn baby, your 1-year-old, 2-year-old, 5-year-old, 15-year-old, 25-year-old, whatever. And they're coming to you. Okay, what is my role as a parent? You're asking me for something. I want blank. Like Tom said, it's great for you to want things. That's called a goal. That's called a goal. Before we can even have a goal, we must have a desire. So when you're bribing your kids with things, or you're using things to distract them so you can make a phone call or something like this, what are you doing to your child's desire? And I'm looking for comments in the comments. Participate with us. You're going to get way more out of this, what you put into it. Thank you, Nicole. You said an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Absolutely. And while I'm waiting for the comments to come in, Jessica says, one of the best moments for me since I started this program was having one of my great friends tell me how amazing of a parent I am and how she wishes she could do what I do. And all I was doing was validating my and her kids and letting them be heard. It's amazing what validation can do when having a conversation with your child. And that's absolutely true.
Yes. And what does bribery do? Oh man, it's an amazing thing. For a short-term win, guaranteed, no exceptions, long-term loss. How many of us know that it's kind of cute? I want them to love me. So what does grandma come over? She brings them things. Yay! Gives them things that they know they like, called a goal, gives it to them up front, and they want something back. How does that prepare this child to have a goal and get it independently? You see, when you can understand that all these parenting methodologies are based and rooted in dependence. Short-term win, long-term loss.
Yes.
What's a quick hack? How do you get them to do this?
There's no quick hack.
You validate. Okay. What do you do? How do you motivate them? Neglect everything you know, first and foremost, and watch them. You see, there's a sacred little window that happens between 0 and 2 called they get into stuff. Who's with me on this? Type in, oh yeah, I did to get into everything. You got to baby proof your house. Okay, now, if you could reframe and think differently, if you the sacred window, when you can see a child old enough to grab something off a shelf, out of a box, out of anything that you're like, no. Okay. That's when guiding begins. When they can take it, they're ready to learn the sacred life skill of everything, a life cycle. They can grab it. That means they're going, did you see me? Did you see me? I'm ready to play. I'm going to do the first one because I was promised when I showed up here in physical form, somebody would see my greatness. I'm ready to play. So now what you do is you let them play. A lot of times parents get all bribery and they get all, look at all these stuff I got for you to play with, right? Put it up in front. Soon as they grab that, they play. And what has every mom, almost no exception, been taught? Once a child plays with something and they're so-called done with, let's redirect with lunch, then somebody has to clean that particular item. And 2, it has to go back where it sleeps. So here's the magical world. We either give them all these things up front, or they grab something and they do it anyways. You've seen all the YouTube videos when they're in the bathroom with the crayons all over the bathroom walls, right? You get the idea. They're into there. Parents have been trained to clean and put everything back in secret agent mode. No monkey see, monkey do, because you get them, you take them over there, and oh, now I have to clean up all this stuff. You never do it. As soon as they're open, this is where you play. This is how it's clean, and then it's how it goes back. You see, when a child can do that, why is it that Harley Faith between 12 months, 11 months to 18 right now can actually see something and put it back? She opens up the little garbage thing, picks it up, puts stuff in the garbage. She already learned the life cycle. She gets in all the Tupperware, out, 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 in. And she actually does the life cycle. Last night when we were coloring, she can open and close the bag. She takes a marker off. She takes the cap off. She does her little thing on the paper, puts the cap on, and puts it back in the bag.
All guiding.
If you could instill this one hardwired program, software for the brain, just that life cycle of how things actually operate, non-negotiable. And this is a universal truth. Then when they are, I'm responsible for my own actions and my belongings, you will never have to ask them to pick anything up ever again. And I was demonstrating this with our little dragons, the little tiny tigers. That was our 2 to 4 year old program. And the parents thought I was the piper. And when they knew that they could do the same at home, it was like heaven on earth, not something you have to be coerced into behaving and get to somewhere later when you die.
Exactly. Well, we're popular this morning. All right. So hopefully that answered your question. Did it help some? My child's not motivated. They have way too much of a free life. Angela said something here. What did you say? You said, if you don't make the breakfast for them one morning, would they eventually ask for it? There is an internal motivation to eat, a beautiful moment to begin teaching the life skill of getting breakfast ready. This is so simple because we got to just start looking at our kids like they're a little human being versus they're our kids. Does this make sense? You are raising a tiny human being, and your tiny human being has thoughts and feelings, and they really crave autonomy. Look at me. So anytime Harley Faith takes the cap off the marker, Tom and I are like it's like the most exciting thing in the world. Yeah! And she just smiles and she puts it back on, and it's we have a celebration. Now, Dr. Phil said, if you're trying to potty train a kid, have a party every time they use the potty. Well, we should have a party every time our child does something. Takes the cap off the marker. This is an exciting thing for an 18-month-old, drawing her picture. So I went from a piece of paper like this because when she was coloring on the paper, it ended up on the carpet. So I went from this piece of paper to a great big manila poster board that's her artwork. And every time she comes over, we do some coloring. All right. So motivation comes from the inside out. There is nothing you can do to motivate another human being besides validate their desires. Stop buying them things. I remember when Jacob was 14, he goes, stop trying to buy our love.
Right.
Now, how heartbreaking is it when you've spent 18 years of your life in personal development, investing in yourself, going to every meeting, driving up 8 hours to do meetings every single day, driving home in a van one time that had no heat. I had in the middle of winter in Alberta, it's like minus 25 outside. My van has no heat. I have a candle sitting on the dashboard. I've got a coat wrapped around my legs to get myself home from a meeting and to provide a great life for my kids. And they come back with, stop trying to buy our love. This is powerful stuff. because I never tried to buy their love. I wanted to give my kids a life I always wanted. I wanted to provide things for them. I thought that was my role. And I ended up with 4 kids with mental health issues, behavior disorders, mood disorders. They hated me. And all I wanted was a great life for my kids. And that's why when I found Creating Champions for Life, and I found that you could validate, that you could help them work toward goals, that you could ask questions, that you could be proactive, that you could show them exactly what to do, teach them life skills, and let them earn whatever they were willing to put out. There's a law of sowing and reaping. And when we raise our kids in some sort of fantasy land of I provide for you, you make a mess, you leave, I clean it up. When we raise our kids in a fantasy land, they end up despising us because they don't want that. They want to be a human being. They want to be seen by you. They want you to see their greatness. They want you to see that when they take the lid off the marker, you put the lid back on. It's amazing. You put it back in the thing. This is why she goes down the aisle at the, I don't know where we were at, Best Buy or something. She knocked something off the bottom shelf. And what does she do?
She picked it back up and put it back on the shelf.
This is not by chance or luck.
Oh, no, honey. No. Don't touch everything. No. None of this garbage.
Or getting angry at her or upset or annoyed that she dropped something off the shelf.
She knows the sacred life cycle called play, clean, sleep. It's sleeping on the shelf. You play with it. It came down. Doesn't really need cleaning. And put it back to sleep. It's a rudimental thing that we all are asking for through this whole behavior, but we've been trained the opposite way. Why? Because they're making billions of dollars off the sucking the life right out of your kids.
Yep.
Truth.
That is, where's my truth card?
Okay.
Where's my truth card? That's the truth.
Dang.
Your kids are on the front line of fire. There's a war raging right now. It's invisible. We can't see it, but they're attacking your children.
Yep.
And it's really easy to do this because in the 1920s, there was an article. Parenting wasn't an industry yet. Kids, as soon as they could move, had purpose in the home, were being taught and trained life skills. Now, it was a lot of corporal punishment back in the 1920s. I mean, if you looked at your teacher wrong or were mouthy in class, I mean, they sat you with a log on the back or took you out back and whipped you.
Yeah, there's no money to be made in beating kids.
Sorry, but it's funny. It's the truth card.
All
Okay.
Right. I gotta jump in here.
Okay.
We nailed that pretty good. Now, Nicole, you said I give up when they resisted. You're supposed to. Now, sounds counterintuitive, but when there's resistance, they have reached their maximum capacity of processing. Fact. 2, if you're sitting on the floor with scrambled eggs, rolling, laughing at me, running away. Good observation. Did you get the message? This is a simple yes or no. Now, many of us have several generations of undoing. Now, what advice do you have for a defeated feeling parent when their child resists? Well, that's an adult. I'm going to have it bring it around as a trusted advisor. Every trusted advisor knows that every genius offspring is born with a blank slate and everything else is learned. It's like a computer, no software other than cry. So we play this name that cry game. Mom's got really good at this. Oh, wait, I know what that means. Can't reach my toy. That means she's hungry. Oh, wait, that's a diaper change. And we stop playing this game.
Mm-hmm.
First and foremost, you start at 0. Now, when breakfast came, what were you doing for them so they could watch and mimic? They wanted to play follow the leader with you. When do I get a turn? And eventually they'll be able to do breakfast all on their own. So if you started at 0 and you thought that somehow from I do 4 and they do all by themselves, it violates God's law called gender. Baby takes 9 months. pumpkin from seed to carving takes 3 months. If we think that it can just be quicker, faster like this, well, that's called God going, did you get the clue? So you start at 0, and what did they do before it went to what is called physics? Too far, too fast, too soon. Went to hell in a handbasket in 3 minutes. But where did we learn that the 3 minutes didn't get 99.9999998.9% of all of your attention? Of like, whoa, look at this. You did blank. Everything else, that's part of your own self-control of, can I ignore that and feed this? And what's really cool is go, wow, look at you. If somehow the eggs got on the floor, we validated that they by their own power, look at that. That's called off the table.
Validate.
Wow, that's off. I put it on the table, you put it off. We're playing the game of opposites. You see, this is within the 0 to 2 missing life skill box. Opposites. And if we can put all our energy into that, we know that how long does it take for us to go through a breakfast thing? Did you give it 3 to 6 months? And if you did, every victory would be each time you do it, you get a little bit farther. So stop focusing on what went wrong and give all your attention to what did go. We call it CPR, right? To bring life back into something. What did they do correct? What they did? I didn't ask you that. What did they do? Well, he did sit at the table. Ding, 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 ding. What else did they do right? Well, did use the fork. Ding, 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 ding. What did they do perfect? Correct, perfect, or right? When you can actually give your attention to those, they will do more of that, because here's the truth. Find our little truth guy. There it is. Here's the truth. We can only go a couple weeks without food, fuel. Truth. You can only go so many days without water. Truth. You can only go for about 5 to 10, maybe 15 minutes without oxygen. Truth. Do you know what trumps all 3 of those? And without it, we die. So our kids are surviving to stay alive. And that's why we always start off with this stance to get somebody's attention. Oh, I just heard it. Somebody goes, attention, attention. We will do whatever it takes to get attention, whether it's positive or negative is irrelevant. And when you know that, why would we give our attention to what we don't like when we could actually have self-control to give attention to what we do like, and the child will do more of which one feeds their attention so they don't die.
Exactly.
And you know that, you'll look at all this parenting out there as garbage. And I mean that with the highest level of respect, because you're at least doing something and you're not neglecting your kid. I honor you and support you that, yes, is it better to break an arm than die? Yes. Is that the best way to run a business called parenting? Probably not.
Thank you, Tom. That was powerful. Very, very powerful. Do you think that was powerful? Let us know in the comments. Give us a little heart or something. Share the video out. Every single parent in the world deserves to know about this. Now, does that mean that they're going to become clients of ours? Does that mean that they're going to rush to Amazon and buy the book called Learn to Speak Kid that has all 12 principles in it that would totally change their life forever? No. Probably the majority of parents out there love to hear that there's something wrong with their kids, because that lets them off the hook. And that is the truth. There's nothing wrong with your kids. It's the environment they're growing up in. And I want to get you to picture just for a moment a plant that's starting to turn yellow. It's supposed to be green. It's starting to turn yellow. Do we ever look at that plant and go, I got a dud? It's a yellow plant.
Something wrong with the plant.
There's something wrong with the plant. What should I do? Right? No, we know that we need to create the right environment. We need to
Mhm.
actually water it less or put it in more sun or less sun. Anyway, we need to do a little due diligence as owners of that plant to turn it back to green. And I'm telling you, right here, right now, your child is green. They're full of life. They have something inside of them called a champion. And when you can learn to do what we're talking about today, everything will change for you.
That's right.
And your child will step into their champion self. Now, if you're feeling, I want to say this, if you're ever feeling defeated or overwhelmed with your child, we're really heading down the wrong path. We're thinking the wrong thoughts. We're seeing through lenses that are incorrect, because everything that your child does is a beautiful thing. And you might think we're crazy. You might leave our live right now because your child's punching holes in the wall.
Oh, wait, nobody normal ever made history there. So be crazy. Do things different. Very powerful.
Absolutely. So whether they're punching holes in the wall or trying to climb on the table. So Jessica said, I'm trying to teach my 16-month-old to, what was it? To not climb on the table, that we sit in the chair.
Wait a minute. Let me just echo this back. Currently try and guide my baby girl not to climb on the table. We sit in the chair. Okay.
Okay, so Tom, I'm sure that you got something to say, but the first thing that comes to my mind when I see a 16-month-old climbing up on a table is naturally, or what we've been conditioned to do is go, no, we don't do that. No. And then you fight it. But instead, if you follow the formula, it's called VACE. You validate that little 16-month-old. Ooh, I see you wanting to climb on things.
That's called up.
That's called up. You see, we look at the 16-month-old trying to climb on the table as bad behavior or incorrect behavior or inappropriate, and we correct that behavior. But you want to validate their desire to climb on the table. Now, Harley Faith climbed on the coffee table at Jenny's house one time, and she got up there, and I've got it on video. She got up there, and she's got like the most like mischievous face going on. She's like, she climbs up and she stands up. Jenny showed her how to stand up and get off the table safely. All she wanted to do was see what the world looked like from on top of the table. She wanted an opportunity to show off. Look at
Right.
me. Now, Jenny has enough skill because she was raised from the time she was 10 years old with creating champions for life to just simply validate and let me help you down. And she took her hand, she helped her down. And that was the last time she went on the table.
Right.
So I'm just sharing you a little vision. Your child wants to have the experience of what it would be like to stand on the table. Could you guide your 16-month-old to stand on the table one time and say, now we sit on the chair. We sit on the chair like this. Because at 16 months old, they are driven by their curious, well, guys, at any age, 15, 18, whatever, your child is driven by their curious nature, not a defiant nature. Can we put that on do you see my little sticky notes back here? I have sticky notes up all the time because these are points that I want to remember for myself. So validate would be something I would have on a sticky note if I were you. Ask lots of questions if I were you. Validate everything that they do and ask questions. Validate and allow them the opportunity to have the experience, because lots of times it's just one experience. And if you could teach them how to do it safely, trust me, your kid's not going to be, going off to college standing on tables. It's just something that they want to do right now. Hopefully that made sense. What I'm trying to say here is we need to lighten up a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, lighten up. I like this part.
Yeah.
Because and Nicole, thank you so much. I want to add that last piece and circle around. I know now I wasn't playing, right? You're in bribing, overcompensating, dictating mode. We play. Adults work. Big difference. Stop being an adult. Become a recovered adult. and play.
Play.
Right? I wasn't playing and validating. I was attached to the outcome. Oh my God, my kid didn't do it right. There must be something wrong with him. When we missed the learning curve, could take 3 to 5 months in order to execute the table arrangement with plates and eating like the big two-leggers. So let me ask you this. Does anybody out there walk, ride a bike, drive a car, maybe your first date or kiss, and do everything perfect? Or was there a learning curve that God already created that man's been screwing with? If you just let go and let God happen, you'll be in the sweet spot. Because at the end of the day, did you read the small print that it takes a long time to engage in sacred energy exchange and prepare? They're not your property to don't do as I do, but do as I say.
Right.
So love us or hate us, that's your interpretation. But I can tell you right now, there's so many of these moms out there and dads that we couldn't even bribe them with $1 million offer to say, give us back everything you know and never use it again. And we haven't had a taker on that yet.
No. So moving forward. So my kid threw Julie, my kid threw a piece of spaghetti on the ceiling just last night. And I said, wow, cool. How are you going to get that clean? And he got a broom with a wet paper towel on it and got it off. I would not have said that until this program. I would have yelled, oh my, yeah.
Liberation.
And tell us, Julie, how is your relationship with your little guy there? There was something else up here. Julie also said something like, is leading by example the best way to share this process? So you're talking about the process of creating champions for life with other parents. Yes, leading by example and waiting till they ask questions. And so here's an example. Jenny just this morning came to pick up the baby and she goes, yeah, I was cleaning a house yesterday and there's a toddler there and the toddler was sleeping. And the mom was telling Jenny, my toddler is crazy. You'll see when he gets up, he's crazy. So he got up and she goes, everything that he went to do. The mom was like, no, we don't do that. And she was yelling at him. And at one point in time took like a paper towel roll and smacked him upside the head or something. Now, we don't know when we're correcting behavior in the moment like this that we're completely off the mark. But Jenny started to validate and show and had him, this little toddler, help her clean. And he followed Jenny around like she was his most favorite person in the world because she actually saw him. Does this make sense? So yeah, we want to lead by example. I want you to picture yourself, if you're following us and you're creating champions, you just continue to create champions. People will ask you, how do you get your kids to do that? How are your kids so well behaved? What are you doing? You know, I'm gonna invite you into this Harmonious Parenting Facebook group, or here's a YouTube video, or send them to the website or something if they ask a question. But yes, leading by example is the best way because, like I said at the beginning of the Q&A, our content isn't for just any mom and dad.
Yeah, and let's add a +1 here because they go, well, how do you do that? And be like, well, let me ask you. You see, I had the courage to question anything and everything that I thought I knew about parenting. Last 3 generations might be wrong. How do you get your kids so wonderful? How did you get so lucky? Well, I had the courage to question anything and everything I think I know about parenting. My mom, whatever it is. Definition of insanity. I had that courage. And when I questioned it for deeper understanding, not to make fun of it, but to understand why would you give and then go, they're not motivated. Ask, start to think.
Yes.
Rather than react. And when you do, you'll be like, well, we hear it all the time. Where have you been? I prayed to God for an answer and your YouTube video popped up instantly right in my feed. We hear this all the time. And the number one thing we hear all the time also is, I wish I knew you 10 years ago when I had my first kid. Well, take that as I now found it now, and then you rewrite your story moving forward. Be the first in your family lineage to create champions for life.
Yep.
Not to say that mom and dad didn't do the best they could out of the least of the two evils, because that's what they did.
Well, speaking of that, if you've got the book or you've been following us for a while and you're like, okay, like I'm really digging this. I'm feeling like there's some momentum, but I need help here. I need to plug some holes, because every great athlete in the world has what?
They're walking too.
They have a coach. Every single one. Every single superstar, rock star that you see on stage has what? They have a manager, they have a guide, they have a leader, right? So
there's no exception to this rule. You cannot violate it and think you're going to win.
No. So let's walk in two. I don't know if you know this, but we have a gold star membership for like $30 a month with a massive amount of recorded videos. We go live where we do coaching once a month. It is a great place to start working with us if you're looking for some clarity or you're looking for some mentorship, or you're like, I'm getting this, but I need some help over here. Angela says, and to find that, you go to creatingchampionsforlife.com and look for join the gold membership at the top of the website. Angela says, the toughest part, letting go of the desire to give kids everything. I love giving, still love giving. Give them empowerment. Give them life skills.
Give them plans.
Give them confidence.
Instead of loot and things, give them roots and wings. It's not about giving. You're supposed to give. You're supposed to give the sacred knowledge of how this world works with as zero prejudice as possible that you can muster. You do want to give. Give them the plan. See, they have a goal.
Yes.
A want, need, or desire. The coach, trusted advisor, gives them the sacred recipe of how it shows up with no, I want you to do it this way. They have a goal. There's the plan. They take action on the plan, right? Monkey follows Simon, so Simon can follow monkey. And however they did, you hold the integrity and go, well, look at that. You did some of the plan. You earned some of your goal. But I want more. Love for you to have more. When you do more of the plan, who can actually create more of? The idea is to put yourself out of business, called I do for my kids.
Yeah. And to put your kids into a position of, look at me, look what I did. When you got your 18-month-old, good, look at me, I took the lid off the marker. Look at me, I put the lid back on the marker. This is a huge thing. Your 7-year-old, look at me, I tied my own shoes. And they better be tying their own shoes, moms. Okay. We have 4-year-olds doing their own laundry. 5-year-old Avery, diagnosed with the worst severe oppositional defiant disorder, now doing her own laundry, cleaning her own room, making her own breakfast, participating with helpful and loving and kind in class this year.
Wow.
This is the difference from reactive parenting, which is the rest of the world, and proactive parenting, which you're only going to find here at Creating Champions for Life. Angela says, validate everything with 5 exclamation marks. So simple, not always easy. Well, it's not going to be easy. This is why we have mentorship programs, because you're a human being and human beings are very complex. Awareness is the first law of learning. Repetition is the second law of learning. Repetition, repetition, repetition. Guide, course correct 1 degree here, course correct 1 degree there, course correct what tone are we using, course correct what is the intention. Is the intention to manipulate a child to comply? Or is the intention to raise a little champion for life? Put that question somewhere. Ask yourself, what is my intention today as a mom?
Yes.
Or as a dad? And Holly, I can't wait to get to your comment, because all I can see is praise reports. So we're getting there, so don't go anywhere.
All right. Let's address it. It's not easy. Well, where did we learn that it's supposed to be? That's questioning everything and everything we know about parenting. It's not supposed to be easy. Could you imagine a little chicken inside the egg has to learn a life skill called peck in the exact same spot, or the egg doesn't break? Why does the chicken have this non-negotiable life skill to master before the egg will go, great job. You are able to focus your pecking in the exact same spot and then break. Could you imagine? Well, it's hard. It's not easy. Okay, well, let's crack it open, put the little chicken out, and now they have no focus on how to peck. So they see food and they're just pecking all over the place. You're going to freaking die. So when we can understand that there's a plan and purpose already in place, it's completely off our radar. Trust the process. Because when that chicken knows how to peck right there, he's going to see food and go, peck, I eat, and eat. Then he has a chance to be independent. We have to question everything that we've been software upgraded for the last 3 generations. And when you do, you're going to go, how come everybody can't see this? Well,
Right.
because you've been trained not to see it.
Yeah, your kids need a challenge.
Everything's magic. It's like a sleight of hand.
Yes.
And trust me, this is liberation, moms.
Yeah, we're
dads.
setting you free. You don't have to you're not supposed to do everything for your kids. You're not a chauffeur, a maid, a referee, a cook, a slave. Your 2-year-old should not be running your life. I see comments on social media all the time. My 2-year-old's running my life. I'm going crazy. Why? Who's the older one? Who's the one? Who's the leader?
Why would a black belt take advice from a white belt?
Right. Yeah.
Why would a big kid, trusted advisor, take advice from a brand new genius offspring?
Yes. Angela says if they do something not quite to your expectation, go back to the part you forgot to teach them.
Yay!
Hello,
You found another
Angela.
step.
Angela, thank you for being
See,
here.
this is called physics. If you go too far, too fast, too soon, you're guaranteed to have something go off the mark. So are you learning or earning? You see, when you're learning, you're supposed to push the envelope for it to fragment. Too far, too fast, too soon. Oh, right. Because every single time man has been messing with God's law of making something faster than the natural cycle, well, you tell me, has he ever been successful other than it keeps blowing up in their face? Right? We got to slow down. It's a journey.
Yes.
Not a destination. So for those that want to see this, write down the word here and there and let me know when you ever get there, because as soon as you do, it becomes, I heard somebody say it here. It's an illusion. You're never going to get there. It's a journey.
I want to read Holly. So Holly, when did you join the group? Like, I think it was wasn't it just a couple of weeks ago you were invited into the group? I could be wrong. But she says, praise report. My 9-year has got up the last 3 mornings and got dressed without being told to. So it's been a great week and we have been on time, actually early this week. Did everybody hear this?
So out of the 144 life skills to transfer, you can now say, I've got 143 more to go. I'm done. You transfer.
Yes. That's awesome.
It's so cool is that you look at the 3 sacred games that have been around and the devil can't get rid of. Monkey see, monkey do, follow the leader. And Simon says, monkey follows Simon, so Simon can follow monkey. Transfer everything that you do for so they can do all by themselves. When you understand this is the core root of this sacred relationship, you'd have to work at screwing it up. And they've done a great job of convincing you that I don't have to prove it to you because you're already doing it.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly right. So I'm going to do this before I just finish reading the last couple comments. We're coming in for a landing here. If you like what you're hearing, what you're learning here at Creating Champions for Life, I'm going to invite you right now, become a Gold Star member. There's a 7-day free trial. I'm putting the link in the comments as we speak. Click that, become a Gold Star member, open your app, push play every single day.
Ooh, let's sing that one more time. Ready?
Okay.
Stick and stay, plug and play. I choose to just do something every day, like breathe. Make that a non-negotiable to feed a tell you a vision program.
Yes.
Let that be your saving grace of going, you know what? I need some truth here. Play something. Make your car instead of the radio, let it be Drive Time University. Let it be your oxygen to breathe life into you. We call this our responsibility cry versus our blaming cry. But our blaming cry has already got all the attention. Feed the positive side, your guiding side, versus the bribing, overcompensating, and dictating side. Is it this simple? Yes. Simple to do, simple not to do. But it's so powerful. And that app works everywhere where you're at.
Exactly. Where was this comment? Okay. A child is driven by their curious nature. Validate everything they do. Ask questions and show them what it is they are doing, when and where to do climbing, for example, then encourage them. Yeah. So, Jessica, that could be the other thing too with your 16-month-old. Show her or him, I'm sorry, I think it's a girl, show her where to climb, where she can climb, when she can climb on it. Just look at what they're doing and understand that your child needs, like, first of all, they need a goal, but they need a challenge. And so climbing might be a challenge for that little one, and they're ready to learn how to climb. When and where can they climb? That's awesome.
Yep.
So I love this little synopsis here. When they are doing, yes, when and where to climb, then encourage them. Vase, validate, ask questions, show them what to do, and encourage them through their own purpose.
And Bonnie, have you ever found an ugly vase before? But vases are very like smooth and sexy shaped, and
Yeah.
they hold really beautiful things like flowers or something important.
Yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Almost the exact same thing. Think of your child as just a little genius who's here to embrace his own uniqueness.
Yes.
Right? And I'm not saying you're there yet, but you used to have the kids sing, I am a genius when I embrace my own uniqueness. So what can a genius do? I can figure things out easily and elegantly. How about you? And I'd say, me too. You want to know why? And they'd say, why? Because I am a genius when I embrace my own uniqueness.
Yes.
To label our kids anything else other than that, well, I don't have to tell you, it's the dark side. If you're going to label them, he's got ADHD. Great. He also has attention surplus hyperactive order, which means you give validation to them rather than ignore them or tell them they're doing something wrong. And you show them how, when, and where versus can, don't, won't. The label's true because we're doing things backwards. And when you see that, you'll never buy into the idea that there's something wrong with your kid ever again.
Well, you know what's really cool is anyone can watch this video 2, 3, 4, 5 times, watch the video, and it's life-changing. Just what we shared here today in this live Q&A. So I want to thank you all for joining us live, for participating, for asking your questions. We appreciate you. Angela said, so many gold nuggets for parents who attend this live call. Thank you for all you do. Thank you, Angela, for being part of our crew, for being here. Angela says to me the other day, I'm not here for me. I'm like, me neither. We're not here for us. We're here for you. We're here to give you a chainsaw. You've been cutting down a forest with a dull axe, being trained to just have patience and to be consistent with a dull axe. And we're here to give you a chainsaw. If you're open to learn, we're here for you whenever you're ready. Live Q&A every Thursday morning. I realize this week is Thanksgiving in America, and Thanksgiving is usually the whole week. Kind of like my birthday, not like a day, but the whole week. And so, yeah, be ready to join us next week. Put it on your calendar. Come join us live. Enjoy today's live. Thank you. You're welcome, Jessica. And thank you for being here and for participating. So with that all being said, until we meet again.
Yep. Until we meet again.
Here's to our parenting success.
Cheers.
Have a great week, everybody.
Bye for now.